If you didn't know, today marks the third day of the U.S. government shutdown. The government is shut down. I remember the last time that the government was shut down was also under a Republican presidency. And I don't know if it was when Chris Christie, if you're from Jersey, he was at the beach during a government shutdown. But I say all of that to say that a lot of these shutdowns be connected to the Republican
Wait, I
Party.
thought the last shutdown was like 6 years ago under Trump. No?
Right, but like I'm talking about local. Wasn't Chris Christie
Oh,
like our governor in Jersey? I don't know. Let us know down below. The moral of the story is that we are under a government shutdown. And as of the recording of this podcast, it's the third day of the US government shutdown. Even though Republicans control both the House and the Senate in Congress, they still need some Democratic votes in the Senate because of a rule called the filibuster, right? So that rule means most bills need 60 votes, not just a simple majority of 51. So despite Republicans being in charge of the House and Senate, right, they got the funding bill, the government funding bill passed the House. But then when it gets to the Senate, you don't need just like the 51 majority. You also need 7 Democrats in order to pass the bill and get those 60 votes. So Republicans can't pass that funding bill on their own. And as we've seen, not only in like real life, people don't know how to compromise, right? Like it's actually kind of embarrassing that even our politicians can't agree on funding their own government. Like that's baffling. But anyways, Republicans are pressuring Democrats to give in. Democrats argue the current plan, the current funding bill that the Republicans are trying to pass would cut healthcare and other essential programs. So they're holding firm. They're saying, no, we are not going to get you the 7 votes that you want because this funding bill will cut essential healthcare that, Americans need. We're not doing that. So because the both sides haven't been able to come into an agreement, the government has been shut down. And when a government is shut down, a lot of like government assistance programs are put on pause, right? So for instance, and also not only that, government employees also like their paycheck are put on pause until the government is funded again, which is baffling because I googled that. I would think that, or one would think, okay, well, if the government employees are not getting paid, then the Congress people shouldn't be getting paid. But of course, politics is politics, and the Congress people are getting paid, honey, but the people that are working for them are not. Isn't that insane?
yeah. So we've been doing our research at
Mm-hmm.
work. And so a lot of like the representatives who are in these different places of power, especially in
Mm-hmm.
politics for New Jersey, have basically vetoed their salary. Well, not vetoed, but like put a pause on receiving their checks from their salaries. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, honestly, I was like saying, because I like to think things as me, as I
Mm-hmm.
am, you know, as Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, if I was a politician, I probably wouldn't not get my check. I mean, I feel like that little check not really gonna make a difference. Like,
But I just think it sometimes is just like, I don't know what the right word, but it's just like the moral or the premise of it,
the
right? Like
principle of it all.
exactly. I just think it's like the principle of it all. You're voted there or you're elected to represent the people and all of that. And if you know that because of y'all, right, y'all not coming into agreement, your constituents and your people are suffering, like I would just feel bad. And not only like when it comes to getting paid, but government assistance, like I mentioned, programs like WIC. If you don't know what WIC is, first of all, that means you got money. Shout out to you, honey. But WIC is usually given to like expecting mothers or like people that just had kids, and like they help. It's kind of an assistance to help buy essential things to feed your kids and
Mhm.
yourself. So those types of like programs could be paused if it reached a point of like we have no more money left, right? So that means that mothers that actually like need this help are going to be suffering. Programs like SNAP, I've mentioned I'm a food stamp baby, honey. So like programs like that are going to continue. But let's say that like the government shutdown extends and then it reaches to a point like we don't got enough money to continue to provide these SNAP programs for the people. That can also get to a point where it's cut off. And I think they're going to come into some sort of agreement. Someone's going to have to give either the Republican Party or the Democrats. And I want to show these things. One thing about Republicans, they will always find a way to, like Rebecca said in our last episode, defer or like blame it on something else. And just like the COVID checks that the Republicans were very much against, but then at the end of the day, Trump made sure to write his name, and everyone thinks that Trump is the reason they got their COVID check, which is a lie. The Republicans are trying to frame it as, oh, because of the Democrats, we are in a government shutdown. And even on their like official White House page, it has like, I'm not sure if you guys can read that, but up top right there, it says Democrats. It says Democrats have shut down the government. And when you press that, they have a literal timer. Democrats have shut down the government. And it's just so like, you guys hold all the power, right? You have the presidency, the House, and the Senate. So it's like,
and I think also what it is, because like ever since the shutdown's been announced, it shows like a lot of people who never took like actual, I don't like public civics classes. Like I see the things, I know y'all never took those classes, or you never paid attention to understand how things actually work in terms of like the government, the way things are passed, the way legislation works, the way that all these different things happen. Because I saw some people in the comments talk about that's because Democrats want illegal immigrants to have free healthcare. I'm like, are y'all slow? Like radio slow, truly slow. Like it's AM radio slow. If you're an illegal immigrant, you're literally, you can't just get free healthcare. You don't have a social security number to get that healthcare. Like, are y'all slow?
And also, like, they want to make, like, Democrats are saying the reason why they're not giving the Republicans in the Senate these 7 votes is because they, in this funding bill, they want to make cuts to the Affordable Care Act, which is, you know, an act or a thing that a lot of people use in order to get health insurance, right? And if they make cuts for that, that means that more money is going to have to come out of, you know, regular working people to get health insurance. And if you live in America, you know that health insurance is already expensive enough. So Democrats are saying the reason why we're not going to vote for this is because if people are already struggling as is, imagine you guys make cuts, it's going to make it even harder. And so they're going back and forth. If like,
And
oh,
I think, oh,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, okay. So I was saying, I also think people don't understand that, like, through Republicans, they have called the Affordable Care Act the Obamacare. And like,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people get that misconstrued. And I don't think a lot of people realize, they think that you're like hurting so many people that you actually don't know. And the people that you think are using the Affordable Care Act, you guys think are like minorities. You think they're black, brown, or whoever people, but I hope y'all do know, like, white people are the majority in America, and a majority of them are the ones using the Affordable Care Act. Like, I hope y'all understand that. So it's like the way that you think that y'all are affecting and impacting others, I think y'all need to understand the people in your own race that you hold so high are going to be the ones who are impacted as well. I just don't think people like really are. And it's like, we've talked about this in past episodes. Like, people do everything they can and speak and spew all this negative stuff about people who they never will probably ever interact with, ever meet with. You want to impact the lives of people you don't know instead of benefiting the greater good. Like, I don't understand it. And that's coming from someone who, like, I care about the people I care about, and I don't care about the people that I don't care about, but I also care about, like, it's like a deep understanding of just the human race. Like, I just get the human race. And like Shayla's point earlier, there has to be some type of compromise. Like, not everything is going to be your way or the highway. And for them to sit there and say Democrats are the reason for the shutdown, it's just like, who is currently in power? If people are saying that this does not benefit a large group of people, why are people, the society, America, not sitting there and be like, okay, let me look more into this instead of just going off the narrative of Republican and Democrat? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's actually insane. And so we will see how much longer this government shutdown will last. I hope it doesn't go longer than a week, but it's like, I think for the first time Democrats are standing, and usually the Democrats are always the one that like push the can down the road, like, okay, well, we can't shut the government down, so we're gonna sign this so things could just continue as planned. And so, as I've mentioned, like, you gotta fight fire with fire, because one thing about not just Republicans in general, but I'll speak to like the Trump is extremely petty, and he's even saying like, okay, well, if y'all don't sign this bill, then I am going to reduce, you know, funding for New York and Chicago. Like, he is intentionally weaponizing and finding ways to make it worse for these cities that are under democratic control, because he is the king of petty and he's always going to get what he wants.
I don't know. I think 50 Cent still got that.
Oh, well, 50 Cent can't pass laws. Like, Trump could really hurt people for real, which is like, I'll take an Instagram caption and a little story, a little 1-2 versus like the
But I
danger
honestly,
of
to
Trump.
your point, I feel like, because I was asked this question yesterday, they're like, how long do you think the shutdown is going to happen like for? And I was just like, honestly, I don't see it going past a week. And if it does go past a week, I'll be like, oh, y'all really staying firm on this. Okay.